The news didn't quietly leak, it blew. Splashed on the very front page, TMZ displayed a grainy courthouse photo, marked with the words, "Arrest warrant issued." Kody Brown plummeting into fiscal freefall. Within a few minutes past mid-morning, it was all over the internet. Facebook fan sites, Instagram gossip blogs, entertainment sites, every corner of cyberspace had it posted at the top. Court filings drew the portrait. Kody allegedly was behind on a whopping $480,000 bank loan related to his failed Coyote Pass project. Payments ceased months ago, even as the bank made frantic efforts to recoup them. When he defied official notices and missed a mandatory hearing, a judge eventually signed off on a warrant. In Flagstaff, gossip spreads quicker than the heat of August. Neighbors gossiped long before the news hit the papers. Some claimed they'd seen a deputy from the sheriff's department driving by Kody's cul-de-sac that morning. Within the Flagstaff house she'd struggled so desperately to maintain, Robin paced the living room, holding her phone so hard her knuckles turned white. 3 attempts to call Kody, no one answered. Her voice shook as she groused, "He's ignoring me now too." The coffee table was submerged under stacks of untouched envelopes, credit card statements, legal notices, bank ultimatums. Her daughters, Brianna and Aurora, sat on the couch, wide-eyed, as their mother half-whispered hysterical phone calls. Robin could no longer hide the truth from them. When Kody eventually returned her call, his voice was brusque, defensive. "Robin, the bank is making a mountain out of a molehill. I have a plan." Her voice broke. "A strategy, Kody, they've issued a warrant, the sheriff could." "They won't, it's a scare tactic, I'm not afraid." But Mary was afraid. The instant she heard, she called Janelle in Utah. The 2 women, closer than they'd ever been since splitting with Kody, spoke every day. Janelle's voice was filled with incredulity. "Tell me you're joking, an arrest warrant." Mary sighed. "I wish I were, every gossip website already has it." Janelle's response cut with bitter clarity. "I'm not shocked, he's been running from reality for years." For Janelle, this wasn't just news, it was a cruel kind of justice. She had poured her own savings into Kody's obsession with Coyote Pass, only to watch it vanish. Now, seeing him face public humiliation felt like payback from the universe. Mary, however, was conflicted. She bore years of anger, yes, but she was also familiar with the pain of being ripped asunder by public humiliation. Nevertheless, the irony was unescapable. The man who insisted upon respect as head of the household now stood publicly labeled in court a debtor on the verge of arrest. By late afternoon, the warrant was served by the sheriff's deputy. Kody was formally warned, come voluntarily or get cuffed on camera, even on camera. In the background, TLC panicked. The leak of an email highlighted their alarm. If Kody gets arrested on camera, this is a liability issue. Production needs contingency plans immediately. Whispers were heard that already executives were making contingency plans to focus the spotlight on Mary and Janelle. 2 days after, Flagstaff citizens witnessed a scene. Kody, face red at a fueling stop, yelling into his phone. Papers strewn over his pickup truck seat, door still open. Soon after, a deputy's vehicle pulled up behind him. Witnesses described the exchange as tense, the officer firmly handing Kody a summons, insisting, "Show up in court or the next time handcuffs." Cameras recorded everything. By evening, the clip was viral. Comment sections erupted, derision, memes, and non-stop speculation regarding Robin. And for the first time, in her blacklit living room, tears on her face, Robin allowed herself to envision life without Kody. The fear of losing him was gradually being usurped by the fear of falling with him. Days afterward, the courthouse in downtown Flagstaff hummed like a set before curtain. Cameras stood guard at the entrance steps. Fans slept in with homemade signs, "Pay your bills, Kody. Justice for Janelle." Within, the air was thick. There were whispers within the high-ceilinged courtroom as all eyes were on the doors. At 8:58 a.m., Kody finally emerged, jeans, his frayed leather jacket, hair somewhat too perfectly styled. Robin held his arm, her grip nearly desperate. In the second row, Mary and Janelle sat together. Janelle's relaxed eyes contained years of anticipation, while Mary pursed her lips tightly. Kody looked away from them. The judge appeared, voice cutting like glass. "Mr. Brown, You have neglected to pay a debt of $480,000. This court authorized an arrest warrant because you disregarded notices and hearings. Kody fidgeted in his seat, his gaze sweeping the gallery like it was any other crowd. Your Honor, this is all being blown out of proportion. My company. The judge interceded. Mr. Brown, this is not reality TV. This is a court of law. Pay the loan or go into custody. After the weightier-than-silence pause, Mary finally spoke. Kody turned, his eyes meeting hers for the first time. His smirk, intended to be one of confidence, faltered with doubt instead. Mary stood up, her voice firm and biting, loud enough for all of the cameras in the room. You constantly said you were the guardian, the patriarch of this family. But leaders don't leave their families behind while pursuing business opportunities and making toys. Robin's face turned red. This is not the place, she spat. Mary didn't blink. It's the perfect place. You two created this mess together. For an instant, Kody's control broke. His jaw tightened, his eyes shifted, but before he could spew out a response, the bailiff's voice thundered, back in at the direction of the judge. When court reconvened, the judge didn't tarry. Mr. Brown, you have 30 days to make a significant payment. If you don't, you will be taken into custody. That is not negotiable. Kody nodded rigidly, but his shoulders gave away the burden weighing him down. Robin gripped his arm harder, her lips shaking in spite of her efforts to hide it. Paparazzi awaited him outside the courthouse, cameras blinding them with flashes. Kody smiled thinly but remained quiet. Mary and Janelle did not follow him out. They remained behind, speaking softly to reporters, painting the larger picture that the storm had been brewing for years. By early afternoon, shame trailed Kody behind him. Stationed in his truck outside a Flagstaff grocery store, he placed pleading calls. His tone was low, aching. I need a short-term loan, 30 days. I have land, I have assets. The replies were chilly, even callous. Conflicts regarding his land, questioning his credit, rationales that petered into blunt hang-ups. His name, once a diploma he thought swung doors ajar, was now a joke. While Robin sat at the kitchen table, encircled by bills, lukewarm coffee, and the heavy burden of fear, her laptop screen indicated the words she did not want to utter. Search results stared back at her. How to protect assets from a spouse's debt. Arizona bankruptcy laws. Separate bank accounts. She hadn't left Kody yet, but she was afraid of being pulled under by him. Aurora stood in the doorway, her voice shaking. Mom, are we going to lose the house? Robin pasted on a smile. No, sweetheart, if I have anything to say about it. Nationwide, TLC executives gathered in an anxious conference call. The consequences were laid out in stark terms. Insurance liabilities, irate sponsors, exposure in court. If Kody got arrested on tape, the network would be the one paying. A producer then said out loud what others were already thinking. They wives are resonating. Mary, Janelle, the manner in which they stand up to him, the audience adores it. If we shift direction there, Kody could be a supporting character in his own show. Even in Utah, Mary's courthouse fire still hung over her. She shared a cryptic Instagram post, Maya Angelou's words on a black screen, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The timing left little ambiguity. Behind the scenes, she took it even further, sending an email to producers with a concept. A new show focused not on Kody, but on her life, her businesses, her independence. That evening, Kody's name lit up Janelle's phone. She answered against her better judgment. Janelle, I need to talk to you about Coyote Pass. If I can prove I'm making progress, perhaps I can delay the bank. Her tone was steady but firm. Kody, I'll never sink another dollar into that property. Not one. You made your bed, lie in it. He shoved back hard. Don't you see, if I fall, we all fall. Her answer was absolute. Then perhaps it's time you fall. That evening, Kody ate alone at his kitchen table. Unpaid notices stacked high in front of him. His leather jacket hung over a chair, tacit companion to a man once in charge of a household of wives, now with nobody left to address him. The following morning yielded another headline, and this one struck harder. Sources: in debt crisis, Robin Brown quietly transferring assets from Kody. A source said Robin had already met with an attorney in Flagstaff. There was a fuzzy photo to go along with the story, Robin wearing sunglasses, tightly pulled back hair, leaving a downtown law office. By lunchtime, the web had no mercy. Hashtags trended, "Save yourself Robin" and "Robin jumps ship." Kody's anger burst open. He strode into the living room, printouts from articles balled up in his hand. "You consulted a lawyer behind my back." Robin stood her ground. "I needed counsel, Kody. You're bringing all of us down with you." "So you supply the tabloids. Do you really think this presents us as strong?" His voice boomed in the house. In the bedroom above, Brianna closed her door softly, attempting to close out the mayhem. By night, talk shows picked apart the Browns' collapse. Courthouse clips played side by side with old sister wives' clips, positioning Kody as the mastermind of his own failure. Old crew members joined YouTube broadcasts, sharing tales of Kody's demands, alleging that he once requested TLC pay a personal tax bill. Live chatrooms full of laughter and demands for the IRS to investigate next. And throughout, Mary made her moment. She went live on Instagram without calling out Kody by name, but all her viewers knew. She spoke in measured words, her voice chosen. This time around, Mary was not just a supporting character in Kody's narrative. She was penning her own. Mary's voice pierced the cacophony of social media like a bolt of lightning. "Mistakes are one thing, not owning up to mistakes is another. You can leave dysfunction behind. You can rebuild. And I hope everyone watching gets it, you can start over." Her livestream went viral within hours. Tens of thousands watched. TLC producers couldn't help but notice. That evening, Kody was alone in his truck, parked within the shade of a poorly lit lot. His phone rang. A number he did not know. He almost let it go to voicemail until something in him told him to pick up. "Kody Brown, it's been a long time." Kody hesitated. "Who is this?" The voice was smooth, even someone from his past. "Let's just say, I knew you before the cameras, I know where the money went, and I know how to get it back, but my help comes at a price, a steep one." Pride struggled with desperation as Kody looked out into the darkness. The following day, in a tired, peeling vinyl-boothed cafe and burnt coffee shop, Kody stood up to him, Darren Holt, a name not spoken by him in more than 15 years. Before Sister Wives, before the fame, they had been business partners. Their business had imploded under charges of dirty tricks, charges Darren still laid at Kody's door. But there stood Darren now, smiling like an old buddy. "Kody, I have investors, men who'll write a check large enough to wipe out that warrant. But there's a catch." Kody's eyes narrowed. "What catch?" "Half of Coyote Pass, given over today." Kody's gut churned. Coyote Pass, the only thing he still had to call his own. But the judge's voice, freezing and merciless, crowded in. Pride wouldn't keep him safe now. At home, Robin was slumped over her computer, browsing through property records. That was when she noticed it, a transfer request submitted hours ago. Half of Coyote Pass. Her heart sank. He hadn't informed her. She called with shaking hands. "Kody, what did you do?" His tone was brusque. "Calm down, I'm taking care of it." "Dealing with it, by giving away our land to an old foe. Do you even care about our future?" She didn't get to finish before he slammed down the receiver. While TLC was getting ready for its big move, The Wives Special, a 1-hour primetime special starring Mary and Janelle, without Kody, without Robin. Janelle didn't hesitate during the pre-interviews. "I lost my savings, I lost years of my life. For what? So Kody could pretend to be a developer." Mary leaned forward, her voice cutting as glass. "The issue with narcissists is that they don't know the harm they've caused until a camera makes them confront it." The producers knew right away. They had found gold. But days before the special went on the air, the tabloids obtained a fresh leak. Kody Brown was negotiating to sell half of Coyote Pass to Darren Holt, a man with a criminal history. Twitter buzzed. Citizen detectives researched Darren's history, pulling up lawsuits and a 2009 conviction for fraud. Kody's secret sale wasn't saving him time, it was building up to a greater fall. Robin stayed alone on the porch that night, phone clutched in her hand. Her voice was trembling as she dialed a number she hadn't used in months. Mary, we need to talk about Kody. They got together in a subdued Flagstaff coffee shop, raw brick walls, mellow indie music playing softly in the background. Robin, her baseball cap and oversized sunglasses shielding her from view, slipped into the booth. For the first time in years, she sat with Mary and Janelle, Kody not being with her. The silence was oppressive. Robin couldn't help but look at the door, waiting for him to walk in. After a while, Mary broke the silence. So why now? Robin's voice broke. Because he's not hearing me anymore. We're all in danger of losing everything. I don't want my children to suffer for his mess. Janelle's face went hard. You knew what he was. You stood up for him while he drained us dry. Robin nodded, shame weighing heavy in her voice. I made a mistake, but Darren Holt, he's selling off part of Coyote Pass to him. That will ruin everything. She pushed a manila envelope across the table, bank notices, property statements, Darren's criminal history. Fraud, suits, convictions. Mary's face hardened. This is bad. Robin leaned forward, desperate. If we do it together, perhaps we can prevent him. Perhaps the court will hear us if it is the three of us. Janelle crossed her arms. You're asking us to confront him publicly. Please, Robin breathed. Help me preserve what's left before he destroys it all. At that same moment, Kody was in Darren's office, ink on his fingers as he signed draft contracts. The two men were laughing like warriors from a past war. 30 days, Kody, Darren smiled. This is your return. But neither was aware. A reporter had already picked up on the agreement. In the coffee shop, Mary stared at the envelope, then at Robin. If we go through with it, there's no going back. He'll come after all of us. Janelle didn't flinch. He already has. This is just us finally pushing back. For the first time, Robin's eyes didn't dance with fear. They blazed with determination. Then let's do it. That Sunday morning, church bells sounded out across Flagstaff, but tranquility was shattered when the front page of the Arizona Republic hit the streets. The headline bellowed like a thunderclap. Sister wives star in shady land deal with convicted fraudster. It began with an article. Not any article, but one that tore through Kody's existence like a storm. The article was ruthless. It stripped everything bare. A crooked business partner with a criminal record, heaps of court debt, and a hidden land transfer that Kody had made through without notice to the courts or even the bank on his case. The Darren Holt transaction was revealed in gory detail, court documents, previous lawsuits, Holt's arrest record, all of it pouring across the page. And then there were the murmurs from close family sources. You didn't have to hazard too much guesswork. It was obvious whose voices were speaking behind those blur lines, Mary, Janelle, or even Robin. The message was implicit. Kody's wild decisions weren't merely burning bridges, they were on the brink of burning everything to the ground. By noon, the news wasn't gossip any longer. It was all over the place. NBC News, TMZ, Entertainment Tonight, all carrying the scandal. Twitter and TikTok were filled with sister wives trending, but it wasn't sympathy that was streaming in, it was ridicule. Kody's so-called comeback strategy had become an open joke. TLC struggled to stay in front of the fallout. Their PR department released a lone, polished statement. We are aware Kody Brown is engaged in ongoing legal matters. The network does not comment on active cases. But in private, producers were already rewriting shooting schedules, fewer Kody, more everybody else. And in his kitchen, Kody sat with a newspaper clutched in one hand, his phone in the other, his fingers wrapped so hard around it his knuckles whitened. This is a hit job, he snarled. Someone fed them this, someone close. Robin stood across the room, her arms crossed, her eyes locked on him. Or maybe, Kody, it's because you went behind everyone's back. Don't start, Robin. No, you don't start, she retorted. You placed my name on that property without letting me know anything about it. Now I'm linked to this disaster as well. The yelling rang through the house until a little face emerged at the stairs, Solomon, eyes wide with fear. Robin softened at once, but Kody remained entrenched in his anger. 2 days thereafter, yet another blow. A certified letter. This time the charge wasn't merely debt, it was fraud. The judge's warning left no chance for ambiguity. don't show up, and next time around, Kody wouldn't be in front of cameras, he'd be in front of handcuffs. And behind the scenes, the women were also making their moves. Mary, Janelle, even Robin. They texted back and forth in a group message, swapping intel like undercover operatives. Bank reps arranged. Journalists researching further. A clerk in the court verifying that the transfer of land wasn't completed, i.e., they could still halt it. For the first time, the three of them came together. Not for loyalty, not even for friendship, but because they all knew something Kody did not. His invincibility was finished. The day it all boiled over, Flagstaff was different. The sun struggled through wispy gray clouds, illuminating the streets with a weak light. The air itself seemed to be holding its breath. On the internet, fans were analyzing all the gossip. Neighbors gossiped over fences. Cell phone clips of Kody walking around at peculiar hours went viral. Everyone knew that it was inevitable. Nobody knew when. Inside the house, Kody's nerves were unraveling. His hair was wild, shirt half-buttoned, pacing the floor as he tried to broker last-minute favors from a friend in the bank's legal office. Robin sat pale at the kitchen table, phone in hand. "Kody," she whispered, her voice trembling, "I think it's today." "No," he snapped. "They'll give me more time, I've been calling." But then, the noise. A low rumble of a diesel engine slicing through the silent street. Kody was paralyzed. Robin's chair creaked noisily against the tile as she stood up. Outside, a police sport utility vehicle stopped at the curb. A plain sedan fell behind. Two officers emerged, one in uniform, the other in black. And then the knock, firm, rhythmic. "Mr. Brown," the officer's voice rang out, steady and commanding. "We have an arrest warrant for your failure to comply with court-ordered payments. Open the door." Kody stood frozen, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Outside, neighbors gathered, phones raised. "It's actually happening," someone whispered. He cracked the door just enough to stick his head out. "This is absurd. I've been working with the bank." But the man in the suit cut him off cold. "Sir, you've had every chance. This order stands. Step outside." Robin's voice broke from behind him. "Can't he just call his lawyer first, please?" "No, ma'am," the officer replied. "This is a bench warrant, it's immediate." And like that, it was done. Kody emerged into the morning, attempting to maintain whatever shred of dignity he still possessed. The handcuffs snapped shut. The crowd gasped. "You sweet-talkin' your way out of this one, Kody." A cry came from the other side of the street. Robin had her hand across her mouth, crying as she witnessed the man she'd once thought beyond reach being escorted down his own driveway in shackles. The officer's voice boomed as he recited Kody his rights. Cameras recorded every second. Neighbors gawked, some smirked, others simply continued recording. Kody's face blazed red as they stuffed him into the SUV. His eyes jumped from phone to phone, recording his defeat. And there she stood, Robin, transfixed on the porch, arms locked around herself, as the car drove out of sight down the street. Miles away, Janelle and Mary watched the breaking news flash on their screens. It was the moment they had never believed would arrive. But deep down inside, they knew this was just the start. The turning point had come. The wind in the outside world was slicing enough to cut, hooting through Flagstaff like a message that nobody was eager to receive. Snow stuck tenaciously to roofs, and streets were covered with ice. But the storm that none could discount was not in the outside world, it was within the Brown family. Legal documents, financial ruin, and personal fissures spanning years were all meeting in a manner that nobody could escape. Kody had been wandering back and forth since dawn, floorboards groaning under his agitated feet. His shirt was rumpled, his hair a wild tangle, his eyes sunken from a sleepless night spent pursuing solutions that eluded him. On the coffee table, an arrest warrant lay waiting like a coiled serpent ready to pounce, his name typed out in bold, unyielding ink. Facing him, Robin sat tight and small, mascara streaked from already fallen tears, preparing for more. Her voice was delicate but as sharp as glass when she sliced through Kody's denial. "They can, Kody, they will. And the worst part is the kids will see it. The neighbors will see it. Everyone will see it." Kody banged his hand on the table, the impact shuddering mugs and nerves. His voice shook between fury and despair. Do you have any idea how bad this is going to look, Robin? I built this family. When they all turned their backs on me, I carried it. And now they want to sit around and watch me go down. Before she could respond, 3 thunderous knocks hammered at the door. Not a friendly tap, not a curious neighbor. This was intentional. Unyielding, Kody froze, his eyes fixed on the door as his pulse thudded in his ears. "Don't answer," he breathed, but the knocks sounded louder. Then the voice, firm, official, with no room for hope. "Mr. Brown, Flagstaff Police Department, we need to have a word with you." Robin gasped, tears welling once more, as Kody staggered backward from the door as if it were flame. His voice broke with panic. "They're not coming in without a warrant." But Robin's whisper struck him down. "Kody, already have one." Before the words could even sink in, the sound of tires crunching outside caught their attention at the window. A black SUV in the driveway, a news van parked behind it. This wasn't an arrest, it was a public exposure. Across town, Janelle sipped her coffee when the headline flashed across her phone. "Breaking. Sister Wives Kody Brown could be arrested in Flagstaff." She set her mug down slowly, a bittersweet combination of grim satisfaction and sadness sweeping over her. Miles away in Utah, Mary gazed at the same notification on her tablet. She didn't say a word, didn't budge, only let a small smile curve the edge of her lips as the news went viral on social media. Old friends chimed in. Fans typed out theories. Old enemies found their tongues again. At the house, pounding at the door was incessant. Robin quietly cried now, while Kody, once the massive force of domination, seemed tiny, broken, beaten, and worst of all, this wasn't over. It was just the start. Morning light had not yet reached its peak when Kody's phone flashed messages on his screen. Initially, he did nothing with them, assuming that they were another creditor, another irate fan. But eventually, he opened one. "Mr. Brown, this is Deputy Ramirez of the Coconino County Sheriff's Office. You have a warrant for your arrest that is active. Turn yourself in immediately to prevent public arrest." Kody's chest constricted. His heart thumped so fiercely it was as if it would explode. This was no bluff. This was actual. The loan he'd put off for months had caught up with him. The extensions he vowed, the warnings from his attorney he ignored, they were no longer specters. They were present. In the kitchen, Robin slumped over with head in hands, hair tied into a grimy bun, eyes red from sleep deprivation. She already knew. Her attorney had informed her of the truth. This was no longer merely about defaulting on a loan. She trembled as she whispered, nearly accusingly. "They're accusing you of lying on the forms for refinancing, Kody. This is not debt, it's fraud." Kody's gait became desperate, a caged animal scratching for release. He yelled, voice cracking under the brim of fear. "Stop." "Don't you see?" Kody snarled, striding up and down like a trapped animal. "This is pure intimidation. They're attempting to bully me into submission." But his words of resolve failed him, wavering on the final syllable, revealing the terror he was so eager to conceal. Across town, Janelle's phone rang as she rang up Christine. The news had traveled quickly, inundating social media in a tornado of headlines and speculation. Christine's voice held both disbelief and a touch of satisfaction. "Do you know what this might mean?" she asked softly. "If he gets arrested, if he gets convicted, all of those questionable property deals, the funds that he diverted, it could all be exposed. We might actually get back what's ours." But Janelle wasn't in a celebratory mood. Her tone was somber, laced with worry. "This is not about money. This is going to get ugly. Robin is not going to stick by him if he takes her down, and the kids," she paused. "God help them, seeing their father carried away in handcuffs, that will destroy them." At Robin's residence, Kody called his attorney with shaking hands. The counsel was clear: turn himself in. Stay away from the cameras, save yourself the circus. But the word surrender was bitter on his tongue. Kody Brown had spent his entire life presenting strength, dominance, control. To go in voluntarily, to surrender, seemed intolerable. But out in the street, the circus had already started. A TMZ photographer waited parked outside, camera poised after a good tip. Above, drones hung in the sky like vultures, poised for the money shot. And hours later, the block would be crawling with reporters, making Kody's downfall a primetime soap. In that fleeting moment of weakness, Kody spoke to Robin, his tone nearly begging. "If I go in, will you be here when I come out?" Her silence was oppressive in the room. She stared at him, eyes distant, measuring her own survival against his downfall. At last, she whispered, "That depends on how long you're gone." The words cut more deeply than handcuffs ever could. By dark, the headlines were stark. Reality star Kody Brown in criminal trouble. Fraud, default, arrest pending. For the first time in his life, Kody Brown wasn't the patriarch, the leader, or the man in control. He was just another fallen figure, cornered, helpless, waiting for the knock that would end it all.